week she had the chance to engrave her name into the history books by breaking the Australian record for consecutive wins. Peter Sharp takes up the story.
True Vintage was whelped in 1985, which makes her just under 3 years of age. She's owned by David Croswell, who has owned a number of successful dogs, but says True Vintage is by far the best, and she's trained by David's wife, Margaret. They refer to her affectionately by her kennel name, Beverly. She had her first race on October the 2nd, 1986, where she ran second, and in that race, she was backed for a small fortune. In losing, she saved bookmakers a payout in the vicinity of $20,000. She then started to string the wins together until she had 12 in a row, and she was going for win number 13 in the final of the Arnott Harper Sprint. She had it won everywhere, but right on the line.
And away Magic Etzel came out quickly down on the inside. True Vintage is going to lead though. True Vintage gets across the lead. Are You Married second in third placing early. Fremantle Echo. They were followed back on the fence by Magic Etzel. About 2 lengths further back in the field, Tutanikai Lad. They were followed by Apache Eye. Hopeful Supreme as they run to the home turn. Belfer is last. It's True Vintage in front. Halfway down the straight coming at it. Fremantle Echo. True Vintage and Fremantle Echo. The West Aussies got up. Fremantle Echo beat True Vintage. Are You Married third.
That was a disappointment for owner David Croswell, as the difference in prize money between first and second was $28,000. True Vintage then started to build up her winning sequence again until she had 14 on the trot. South Australian dog Kate Scandal held the Australian record of 15 wins in a row. True Vintage was out to equal it.
They're racing. She jumped brilliantly as per usual, True Vintage, and raced 3 in front after 50 metres. Jolly Nuisance running second. In third place, Brayside Port, then Devil's Bag, followed by Super Step. And Majestic Dan starting to wind up before the home turn. And True Vintage is 8 in front. Jolly Nuisance second, Devil's Bag third, Majestic Dan wider from Brayside Port. But she's going to equal the Australian record with a leg in the air. Might be another track record. True Vintage won by 12 lengths. Majestic Dan might have got second. Third home, Jolly Nuisance.
The Little Champion now jointly held the record with Kate's Scandal, and so the scene was set for her to break the Australian record. Bookmakers had her past the post and excluded her from the betting. Those that did include her in had a long odds on. The experts were giving her big raps, saying she's the best they had seen in years in this state. Graham Mote has been training greyhounds since the 60s and has seen many champions in his time.
I'd say she's the best locally bred greyhound I've seen. Possibly compare with any dog that's raced in Tasmania, like in the last 30 years, to my knowledge.
Mick Muir can go back to the 1920s. What does he think of True Vintage?
Well, in Tasmania, she's got no equal. Whether she can do the same on the mainland, I wouldn't know.
Bookmaker Darryl Eaton also has a high opinion of her.
Well, she's the fastest greyhound we've seen here, Peter. Definitely the fastest I've ever seen in my time of bookmaking at greyhound meetings.
True Vintage was drawn in the 4 box in the Foster's Australian record attempt. She had been beaten before from this alley, known as the squeeze box. But the experts were saying bad luck was the only thing that could cost her the record. But she had experienced bad luck before. There's not much of her, and she has to protect herself from the bumps and thumps. True Vintage started only fairly and was squeezed for room in box 4, but she could have still won from here, where she's in the middle of that bunch. But then after travelling 50 metres, you can see True Vintage with the blue sash nearly turned inside out when Devil's Bag cannoned into her, and she drops back sharply to second last, and as you can see, setting up the leaders a big gap. But she gave it all she had to make up ground, and although not winning, in losing, showed the champion she is. Colin McNiff takes up the call.
Jolly Nuisance going to third as Falcon Prey. A couple of lengths away, then Devil's Bag. True Vintage starting to warm up. Well, let's see, she's about 5 or 6. Can she do it? She's starting to charge down the outside. Campbell and Lass in front of Jolly Nuisance. True Vintage can't get to them. They go to the line, and Campbell and Lass has won by a neck.
Her owner, David Croswell, was proud of the fact she had equalled the record for the most number of wins in a row, but was disappointed that she hadn't broken the record.
A little disappointment, but she owed me nothing, Peter, so yeah, it would have been nice to hold the record. She still holds the record as far as I'm concerned, and she just owes me nothing, but you know, she was in a bit of trouble early and she just couldn't pick up the the front markers. So.
What a great job, though, that she has done for you.
Oh, she's a great dog.
She the best you've had?
Oh, definitely the best I've had, yeah. I've had a few good ones, but she definitely is the best.
When she's finished racing, what's life going to be like for True Vintage?
Oh, it'll be a life of luxury, I think.
And what better way for her to see out the rest of her life? As David Croswell said, it will be a life of luxury. True Vintage, a true champion.